Welcome to the desert of the real.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Suri. This is Zero News. This is going to be a quick one from me. Hopefully, you may have seen. You may have seen on Nigel Farage's channel. He showed the video that I showed yesterday, and also showed something else. And I'll just get the mystery out of the way. I'll show that first. So this is one of the things that he brought up. And we've known for a long time that for a very long time that the powers that be have, in their drug war and in other wars, have started to what's the word, to militarize our children against us. It's not a new concept. It's an Orwellian concept, and it's been done in communism many, many times. And one of their big go-to weapons, to believe it or not. And so we've known for a while it's been going on. There's a big but, though, and it's a big difference. And that is when you're seeing it like this, and what he's talking about here is legislation. As I've been saying recently, legislation's been put through one piece at a time, becomes ratified, essentially becomes law, and this legislation is passing through one time after another. And this weaponizing of children, although it may not be new to many of you, it's now legal and official. And the idea, even if you are pro this idea towards COVID, which I'm personally disgusted with it, but even if you were okay with it, don't assume that this stops there. Once a law like this is passed, it's permanent. It's there for any reason, and allows the manipulation of your children about subjects that they might not otherwise be taught in school, to find out about the parents and stuff. And you could argue, like I've heard many ignorant people argue for the last 20 years, I've got nothing to hide. Well, carry on with that arrogant attitude and see where it gets you. It's not about that. It's about your rights and fighting for them and making sure they're there, because you never know when you will need your rights. That's why they're there, one of the reasons. And so when you see stuff like this, Nigel, I know Nigel Farage is a very controversial figure, especially at the moment. Well, one thing is he was trying to draw attention to, even if it be in passing. He said anti-terrorist laws had allowed for certain things to happen that were never originally intended. Well, the thing is I've been trying to say this for the last 2 years, is that the very laws used against activists and used against Tommy specifically that I've seen enacted over the last couple of years were laws that happened post 9/11, when piracy was getting out of control and they didn't know how to control it, especially not with the Data Protection Act. They needed a way around it. So the Americans started pressuring, all the other governments started pressuring Europe to do it their way. There was a big argument between Sony and Spain, because Sony was saying, don't allow this in your country and allow our films to be pirated. And Spain said, don't tell us what to do. And for a while, Sony said they were going to boycott Spain, which of course they didn't, because they need the market. But the point being was, a lot of the laws that are being applied on many of us now, especially people like Tommy and stuff like that, they are anti-terrorist laws. And they've been bent to fit other purposes. When they were passed, there was as many people in Parliament as you'll see now, and there was no COVID. This was years ago, and they were passed one by one. But one of the biggest ones that breached the Data Protection Act, that allowed destroyed net neutrality, all this stuff was passed during a summer when virtually no one was in Parliament and nobody cared. It didn't make the news, and it was on that particular day that people gave up a lot of their rights on the internet. But also, what they didn't realize was elsewhere as well, because the law applied to humans, not on or off the net. And I've said time and time again. If you go and look in the Torrent Freak archives, which is still on the internet, you can see the story of how these rights were taken away one by one by one by one, and how it came to be that Google was a search engine that gave you all these results, and then suddenly one result was filtered, and suddenly now they get 1.3 billion takedown requests per year. There's a story to it all. It didn't just happen because Google were always a terrible company and decided to censor things. It's not how it happened. They got a lot of pressure from the American government. American government was pushing us to change laws here. I'm talking about under Obama and people like that. They were trying to get us to change laws here that they weren't even enacting at home. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off the point, but it's all important because there is a body of evidence to support that this has already happened. So it's frustrating for me on days like the day when now I see that it's now in law for anyone to see that your kids can now be weaponized. I mean, this gives them the right to talk, for the MI5 to get involved, which I gather means more breaches of data protection, even children's. And it allows almost all governmental and police sort of bodies to be able to interact with the kids or the parents at any moment based on this. And when you think about this, the uses for it just go on and on. In the end, it's like this leads to a place where if you go on a protest, people are going to come around your house and scare the life out of your kids and everything else, because this is the way that communist regimes happen. And again, I know that will turn some people off because they're like, oh, communist regime. No, we may not be quite there yet, but all of these things are the symptoms. The Twitter mobs, the Twitter shaming, the Twitter trials, all of those things are very reminiscent. The way things are happening now, all very reminiscent of the way things went. There's a lot of worry about China now, about just how much power they have. I'm seeing people actually start to worry about it, as in people outside of the American government. They're beginning to realize that things may not be run by who they thought it was. And people are sweating it because, I mean, like China's interaction with Google, nobody knows who's the devil there. Was it Google for allowing China's rules, or was it that China and Google were always on the same page with their rules? We don't know. But what I do know is, we saw that video from yesterday. The story is that that girl had just come back home from hospital. She's epileptic, as you heard in the video. She just come back from hospital, came through the door, and their neighbors ratted them out. Their neighbors ratted them out. This is something else that used to happen through fear alone. Neighbors ratted them out, and that's then what led to the scene that you saw in the video yesterday. And I remember something happened to me once, and I remember a copper saying to me, if only people talk to each other more, we wouldn't be called out like this. Because someone had called someone out on me for doing something I wasn't even present for. And he goes on in this particular video to explain that, well, I think it was Ian Dale from LBC had the police turn up at his door because he was playing some trance music, and his neighbors thought he was having a rave. I mean, this is the level we're at now. So I've got a closing, and I know this isn't the most exciting video I've made, but I'm just so angry. Honestly, for the once, I'm tongue-tied. I've got a closing window now to get out of this place, to try and do what I said I was going to do. I'll be honest with you, I'm 50-50. I have booked my tickets. I know that at midnight on a certain night, I don't want to say now, at midnight on a certain night, they stop. But with the pressure that's on them and the statements I've seen in the media, I don't know whether to trust it. I'm going to turn up there as though the world intends to carry on spinning. But if not, then I hope someone else can get me out of this goddamn area, because regardless of whether I'm successful or not, from this point on, they've extended this lockdown, I don't know if you're aware, to the end of March now. And it's not that I'm frightened of being stuck in. I can sit in all the time. It's other people who are going to suffer, not me. It's that It's I can't sit and watching all this stuff happen, and say, well, I made some nice looking videos instead. Do you know what I mean? Or I don't know. The idea that I'm going to be stuck in this part of the country, able to do nothing, is too frustrating. Yeah, there's stuff I can do here. That's true. Um, but all of the things that I think many of you are worried about, and many of you knew already existed, are happening now. As I think it was Kaylee put it, so brazenly. This is the thing that you should question: is why are they being so brazen and so they don't care anymore? Why? What is it they know that we don't? The only thing I could think of is like I've mentioned a few weeks back, they've won. Do you know what I'm saying? Why else would you not have a single bit of caution? Why is it that the play that you see on the screen is now done with a certain sense of up yours? Um, I would suggest that's a reason to worry, because it doesn't feel particularly well hidden. It just doesn't feel like anyone particularly cares whether they're caught or anything. That's worrying. Um, and yeah, I'm sorry, I'm too wound up to flow the way that I normally would, and we need to get together. Like I say, my lack of transport is an issue, but we need to get together. Or having said that, I'll carry on by myself. But I'm just saying, in terms of logistics, somehow we got to keep fighting the fight. It's a long time till March. There's a lot of people who are going to fall into real trouble, whether it be financially, mentally, physically, or all three. Um, I'll still survive all this. Yeah, a lot of other people won't. Um, the effect it has on some people is catastrophic. Um, Literally, I think we'll be able to. We already can tell by the numbers that the cure is worse than the disease, and the cure doesn't even work. So so we've got to stick together, both online and as much as we can in person. Um, the crazy thing is, even Farage is here saying, "I know so many people who've got it at the moment." I don't. I still don't. Nothing's changed here. I went out the other day, and there was police everywhere, and everything had quietened down. Next day, I've gone up the road. You wouldn't tell it from any other day. Those people were still going to school. It was just like any other day. Um, and as a result of that, I'm not seeing people falling over ill everywhere. It's hard to. Again, I'm not in the cities, and that must have an effect. But it's still hard to, And I'm playing devil's advocate by even saying any of this is right or true. But playing devil's advocate, you still can't justify the ends don't justify the means. And even if everything was above board and this is just the worst piss take in history, they were already heading this way before Brexit, and they were certainly heading this way during Brexit. And the place we're at now, if it isn't defeat, then it's a place very close to it. And it's going to require every single person that can be bothered, that cares enough to fight this, because even if we do fight, we become de facto leaders, even if we don't want it. Leaders get taken out. You need to have someone to step in from the leaders. The laws they used to shut down pirate sites, or a lot of them, were terrorist rules. We need to reverse that back on them. And we need to become the Pirate Bay, the one that they couldn't get, the one that they couldn't touch. And the day that they did get hold of them, they found them buried in the side of the mountain like some James Bond film. The site was up 2 weeks later because guess what? They had another crew ready to step into the shoes of the previous crew. It wasn't about the people running it. It was about the people running that. We need this to have a constant supply line of people that are prepared to report on this, even if we can't do it in person, just to keep this going. And we've got all these different alternate medias, brilliant, but none of them are really standing above the others. How can I put this? There's not a consensus amongst all of you which one to go to. So I'm finding when I talk to you, I'm getting you're all coming from different angles. So it's very difficult until one takes above the others. Having said that, I know a couple of you said, what if we lose you? What if I disappear? Well, there's a link straight below to Parachute channel. But if YouTube are wise to that, then there's also links there to my VK and my Telegram and my email, and I will be adding links to the other social media channels and video channels in the next few days. So you'll be able to find me. Just remember they're there and take them while you can. Beyond that, so just be aware now that whether you believe you've got anything to hide or not, it's not the point. Your children are being weaponized. I don't know about you, but being a child is supposed to be one of the most innocent ages. Well, it is the most innocent age there is, where reality can be suspended for you to give you time to grow. And our children are being sexualized, and for what we all know probably, and as above that, they've been politicized and weaponized. Things we knew, but now becoming more and more part of the status quo, part of the okay. You know, these sort of things all started being really taboo conversations, but people normalize them, and every few years people start getting desensitized to these words and to these ideas. And I realize I'm waffling on. I've gone on for ages. I do apologize. Let me just have a look at your comments very quick. I have a look on StreamYard, so I may miss a lot of comments, but just say hey to everybody. I will. Sorry, I will. Just reading the comments. I will keep you apprised of what's going on. With well, I say with me, just with the work that we're doing. I'm sure you're not too worried about what's happening with me. Hey Archer, hey everyone, hey White Knight, hey Karen, Bolton, good to see you, buddy. Bod, everybody, anyone I miss, good to see you all. John Francis, if I didn't say that. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, just saying hello to everyone. I'm finding it hard to read your comments tonight because honestly, I am fueled by adrenaline at the moment. So you know, and like I say, I'm aware that Farage is the topic of controversy at the moment. I'm just putting that to the one side. The other thing is as well, right? This current prison sentence is supposed to be lasting now until the end of March. And the big thing was, oh, we're going to have this big 3 months prison sentence, but at the end of it is, you know, everybody would have had the magic cure. But now they're already talking about lockdowns for next winter. I think they're using the flu as excuse, but whatever. So what are they saying then? We will cure it, but for what we've learned from this is the NHS can't handle about October time. Because if you look before this all happened, at the previous 2 Octobers, I think both times nearly closed the NHS. So is it a case of going, oh, we get a flu that time of year, we're just going to lock it down because, hey, it's better than paying the money? Or is it a case that they're saying, oh, this is still going to be around? Well, you know, what excuse is it going to be? That's an interesting one that I would like the answer to. Are they just going to close down the NHS at tough times of the year? You know, it'd be very, very interesting to see. There was more I wanted to say, really a lot more, and I spent more time saying what I didn't want to say, and 0 time saying a lot of what I did. And it's just a sign of state of mind. As I said, I'm not particularly freaked out by lockdown in terms of having to stay in. I can do that. It's what I know will happen to other people, because I've seen people who can't spend 2 weeks off work without losing their shit. I've seen people who spent 6 months off work and gone into a depression whilst recovering from an illness because they were away from people. I know people that can't be alone to the point where they have one girlfriend after another, or their house is always full of friends. They cannot face themselves, you know. And this is to one side of the fact that the place I still want to show you. I tried to go there yesterday, but I couldn't get there. One of the places around here I still want to show you is almost all family businesses that make up like this 300-year-old place. It's impossible to see how it will survive. And from what I'm understanding as well, from a little bit of research, is there's a lot of businesses that have gone out of their way to go through the government's rules and to adjust their businesses accordingly, to go out of their way to try and comply and have a business still. And it didn't matter what they did, they'd find themselves shut down sooner or later after spending money to prevent that. So, but yeah, so we're going to have this en masse jab coming, but we've got like a 3-month prison sentence, with the panic being stoked as opposed to calmed. So I don't know. A lot of people will say, "Oh, the panic is to try and get everyone to have this magic cure." Maybe it is, but I just feel like there's multiple things going on at once. And seeing Tommy's video earlier on as well, I think he's dead right to have his finger on the pulse to say what happens over there, not just for them, but also for us, really matters. But I honestly think that they are going to have to get used to the idea that Trump's not coming back. What they need to do is do what the Democrats didn't do, and that's accept it if the time comes, and then prepare themselves for everything that's to come and everything that they need to do to stop it from being a landslide that carries on another 4 years, and so on and so on. It's a big time, because I've always looked at America as being the one country that could really help us, because we've lost too much to just be able to get it back ourselves, I think. And how many times have people warned America it's coming? And I don't think they really, it's not that they should, I'm not chastising for this, but I don't think they really took it seriously, because they'd seen elements of it there already, and they were like, no, we've already got it here. And it's like, yeah, you've got a lot of it, and you've got some stuff you're well ahead in what you've got, but the police state, we're in it, and we've been in it without knowing it for some time. Anyway, I'm going to go and see if we can, like I say, if we can have a chat to Copper, great. If we can see what they're up to, okay. Like I said, don't go out to provoke, so let's just see what happens. But in whatever way we can, whether it's as a keyboard warrior, getting out on the streets, or whatever you got to do, this shit needs to be challenged at all turns. You need to make people, if the least power you've got is to write to your MP and make them frightened for their seat, then do it. It's something to let them know, look, we see you, we see what you're doing, and it's going to cost you. It's the only, because the one thing these people are is self-obsessed, career-minded people. They don't want the idea of their career being hurt or having black marks on before it's due. It's the only thing you can do. And bear in mind something else about these things that are coming in at the moment. They're not coming in at a national level. These are being requested at a district level. Think about that for a moment. At a district level, we could change that narrative. We could change that narrative as communities if we could rebuild them. These things are being requested at a district level. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself who's behind that, especially wherever you live. That's something that we could challenge, and we're not. It's the one thing I will say is that people coming here to destroy this country have got a far better grip on the rules and the structure of how it's run than most of us do. Shameful, but true. We need to change that to have a hope in hell of fixing a damn thing. I've spoken for far too long and said far too little, so I'm going to call it a day there. I will have a look for your comments. I just need to chill myself down a bit, make sure I've got everything ready to go, and see what happens. But I love you. Thank you so much for giving me your time of day. I'm sorry it's not the most exciting one today. I'm just a bit too wound up to get out what I want to say, but I do appreciate your patience. And like I say, if you want to find me, and something does happen to this channel, there's links below. There'll be some added. I'll be there, and I'll expect I'll find my way back here too. But I'm not disappearing. Anyway, Tom Fury, Zero News, and I am calling it a day for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining me.
Welcome. to the desert of